So we're gonna see what we have in store today in the shop. So come along on this workshop Wednesday. So one of the big projects today was to make sure that we get all the bears' skulls skinned out of them. So we took all of our bears out of the freezer. I also had some deer to cape. And there's the bears that we had to take the skulls out and put tags through the ears to make sure that the right numbers go with the right names. So that's what Carrie's doing right here. Then it was time for me to try to find a squirrel in this mess that I was going to mount today. Oh, that should be fun. Okay. So I have to get back to the shelf that has all of the small mammals. Right there it is. And thankfully all the squirrels were right there up front. So I found one I thought I was looking for, and I was good to go.
Look how bad it is. I gotta get down and get the back of the skull.
That's disgusting. Did they like throw it in the dirt or something? Ugh.
Mange. Ain't that a mange?
Yes, that's mean.
Look at, I can't see where the freaking is. That freaking back.
Well, after looking at that disgusting thing, I came over to work on the deer that I was going to mount this morning. So I looked for the right size ear liners. This one looked like it took mediums. So bring them over. There they are. I got to make sure that it fits. So I'm shimmying that in there, testing it all up, and it was good. So then it was time to rough them up. But then I heard this. What is he doing? Well, it turns out he had to hammer it flat. So here I'm going to show you something.
Looks like a slab of nothing but fat bacon.
It does, honey.
So that little bottom line there, that's what you want to leave.
That's what people want to leave. Not
You can cut that fat off. We don't need that. Apparently, it was pretty nasty. So then I went back to mounting my deer. I got some glue to put on the ears so that hide sticks to those ear liners and keeps the right shape. So then I put some hide paste, aka glue, onto that form, and I put that skin on there. Next step was to mix up some antler set. It's kind of like a super fast setting paper mache. I put that on there so I can push the antlers down and they stay where I want them to be. Put some screws through, and then it was time to start setting eyes and doing my face clay work. Sometimes these eyes that you get are just so crooked and the pupils do not line up. So that's me looking through that flashlight there to see if they are lined up correctly. Work on my clay work a little bit. And then it was on to open some packages that we had gotten. So we got this big box and it had all of these great habitat sticks for fish and birds, and so that's us unwrapping them. There's some pretty cool looking ones. These ones come from Matuska Taxidermy Supply, and we've really found that they have just the prettiest. Look at those river rocks. That's awesome. So then it was back to mount my deer, and I go to set the ears, and this is the coolest thing ever. So this is an old form. This is what the rack came off of. What a difference. Look at the real skull underneath there. It's crazy. They had to put a lot of work into those old forms like that. So then I put glue all over the face, get everything all put where it should be for now. Not worried about things being perfect at this moment, but I try to get the skin close to where it should be when I tuck it. That's what I'm doing right now. And then it was on to do a little bit of antler scoring. So check this thing out.
Can you see them?
Yep.
So someone marked where they thought they should be measured. Right there you can see, and this is a really good one. So you take your tape, it's measured from where the tine connects to the main beam. So you go from your continuation of the main beam here to here, and you can see where they have that marked. you're gonna lose a 1/2 inch on your measurement if you're worried about 1/2 inches, but just for correctness of it, it would be more so about here that
Yeah.
tine would get measured.
That adds up a lot of inches over how many times.
Even this one here, okay. So that one's marked up pretty high. That main beam comes across right there.
So you don't count, oops. So you don't count this, like this webbing isn't where it attaches?
No, so that's above the webbing. But if you look from like the main beam here, so we went from here and you go across, I would say this point probably starts about here.
How much do you think it's gonna score?
I don't know, it's tough with these things, there's so many points. It's probably
It is
like
tough.
It's gonna be in like the 180s, I'd say. Right side, 83 and 6/8.
Okay.
16 and then
What did you say again? Yeah, you were within 5 inches, which is pretty good on that thing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of junk going around.
it's just tough because like there's so much junk, but it doesn't really amount to much. Like you get a little bit here, a little
Yeah.
bit here, and it's only 14
only 4
and a-
mass measurements,
Yeah.
so all that mass doesn't count that far.
Don't do all that much.
And then it was back to mounting my deer. So, sewed him up, stuffed some stuff in his nose, stapled his back, and he was ready to dry. He ended up being a cool looking little buck. So this is another do not do. Please stay away from the brisket of your deer. This one won't be a horrible fix, but man, it's just a shame. So then it was on to putting some fish on those habitats that we unwrapped earlier. So here's a pretty cool brook trout. Here is a lake trout. They have a lot of spots. So here's Zach's fastening him on this piece of wood. And then after they get fastened, they need to get cleared. So just some nice gloss clear spray paint all over them really brings them to life. Look at that puppy shine. So then I had to finish a deer because that squirrel that I got out earlier actually was the wrong squirrel. So I had to do something to fill my time, so I started doing some finish work, trimming some skin, brushing some hair, getting all the dirt and grime out of there. But then I took a little walk outside and wanted to see what Zach was up to. He was cleaning off a boiled skull, and I volunteered to help. Don't know why. So here I'm pulling some gunk out of his nose. It's kind of satisfying, but it's also pretty disgusting. Check this chunk out. Mmm, tasty. So then it was back to a clean nose, and I was doing some more finish work. Here he is almost ready to paint. Those racks that you saw Zach boiling earlier, this is the next step. After they get pretty much cooked off, that wire wheel cleans off the rest. So between him and Carrie, they pretty much caped deer and skinned bear all day long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this workshop Wednesday. Thanks for watching and following along, and we all were pretty whooped by the end of the day. So we'll see you next week.